Hey, it's Sean, and we're here at Soniscope Studios, like an underground bunker, I guess, at Soniscope Studios. Um, since it's getting towards the end of the pandemic, we figured let's get in some more Zoom meetings really quick before everybody forgets about the technology. So this week we're going to have a little panel discussion thing on songwriting within the context of a band. So let me try and figure out some Zoom here and start letting some people in this meeting, and we'll get talking about it. Okay, I think we've conquered the technology now. We joining us today, we got Ricky Deschamp from Deschamp. We got Tom Deckert from Cosmic Ranger and Matt Lagarde from the Colourflies. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Deschamp,
Oh, and from Deschamp Skateboards,
Oh my gosh.
which
Deschamp.
is less relevant to songwriting, but
It's
makes for a great skateboard.
Everything's relevant to songwriting. You wake up, you open your eyes, you dream. Even in the dreaming process, you're songwriting.
You skate.
I skate, I'm songwriting. I fall, I'm songwriting.
It's Songwriting 360 this week on the studio.
He plays guitar while skateboarding. He's songwriting.
I haven't done that yet. I'm afraid I need to get a cheaper guitar.
Well, that's
I'm gonna skate with a guitar.
That's just one of the next videos, really.
That would be fun. I'm currently working on a music video right now.
You'd be like the Arizona iced tea guy, just skating or scooting a longboarding down.
Oh yeah,
with your cheap guitar.
That's right.
So let's go around the virtual table. And when did you start writing? We'll start the very basic question, and we'll go with Ricky because Ricky's single on the bottom by himself in a one shot. And go.
I was 18.
Ricky's
I was 18. I was 18 years old, and I was getting into like horror punk. I was working at Hot Topic, and I didn't really want to be a songwriter for years. I grew up on karaoke and stuff, but so I wrote a song when I was 18, and I was like, this is cool, but I didn't know anything about music. I just wrote lyrics and the melody and stuff, and then I was like, I didn't understand it, and it was a really bad song. But yeah, that was my first songwriting experience. My first songwriting with the guitar was 2010, because that's when I learned to play guitar. 2010.
What about you, Matt? When did you start writing?
I wrote the first song according to my grandmother, I've been writing songs since I was a kid. I would just make up songs and sing them all the time. But I remember I wrote a song for a girl named Brittany in middle school, and it was like the cringiest, most like horrible song. But I remember it still. I'm not going to perform it for you, but
yes, you are.
I started seriously. I might later as the process
start
goes on.
sneaking shots back here, and then
yeah. But anyway, so I started seriously writing songs probably when I first started playing guitar, which I was 17, 16. And then I formed a band like about a year after that with Mady and Devin. And
how about you, Tom?
So I first started playing when I was 15.
Not the question.
And
Said not the question.
Well, hold on.
It's a joke. Come on.
And
we're being fun. We're being fun.
Is this fun? No, but I would come up with guitar melodies that I could do that would sound really cool without any vocals, because I wasn't a singer. Everyone told me not to. So I would do that, and then I would write instrumentals for a while. So the first songs with lyrics probably were a couple really terrible girlfriend ones. Definitely. Actually, one of the first songs I wrote was on that guitar that you have, called the Obligatory Ex-Girlfriend Song.
I'm aware of that guitar and song.
Yeah, that guitar's name is Jezebel, by the way.
Aw.
Because of the X. Well, I hope it's doing well. But then those were all terrible. The first mildly decent song I ever wrote with lyrics,
mildly spicy,
was probably a song called Cure Song. and that was when the drag was first forming, and that was the first song we all played together, and I just started singing along with everything, and everything just kind of clicked. So that was probably the first decent song that had been like workshopped and had any kind of fun lyrics that weren't, you know, ridiculous. But I have a couple other ones from earlier that were like about my dad, some stuff like that. So that would probably be the first good one.
I remember, I think I started, first time I remember trying to write a song was, I think it was 8. And I was like really sad that some kids wouldn't play with me or some shit. And so I was like all depressed. And I started like, I remember trying to write something and then thinking immediately that it was stupid and probably stopped writing that. And then in high school, I was reading, I read a lot always as a kid. And I started trying to write songs that were like Tales of Brave Ulysses or you know, just Sergeant Pepper, not Sergeant Pepper, but Yellow Submarine kind of weird out there lyrics just to try and incorporate Purple Penguins into the song or something. And it didn't work out. So I stopped writing for a long time after that. Cause like, oh, well, I suck at writing. So I'm not going to do that. And also I didn't fancy myself a singer either. So I'm like, you know, whatever. But then when I was working with some people who had great voices, but couldn't write, I started like jumping in and giving them stuff to say, which was incredibly helpful, I think, for them. But who do you think who inspired you to write? Jesus.
Probably just keep going with this order. That's you first then.
Me first?
Yeah, well, he's too busy with emojis
like
and icons and hand
It's cool.
raisings.
I don't know. I feel like I'm like
the Joker
ooh.
in the back of the class, like raising hands and
Like,
passing notes.
It's cool. You can like do stuff, and I don't know. I haven't used Zoom before. This is like new to me.
Oh, fair enough. Well, good.
My
As long as it's fun.
inspiration for songwriting, Clay Aiken.
Right.
Clay Aiken.
Unironically, for all of you who think he's just joking, that's a joke. No,
I
Ricky,
love Clay.
listen to hours of Clay Aiken on the road.
That's
It's
awesome.
true.
Hours
of Clay Aiken. My mom gave me it was like he did the American Idol thing, you know, season 2, and you know, my mom, I went through a breakup, and I was like 16 years old or something, and my mom gave me one of my first albums she's ever given me was Clay Aiken's Measure of a Man, and yeah, I listened to it straight, got through all the songs, and would sing it a bunch, and then eventually I was I thought about like the writing thing and like being myself, and that took a couple years until I was 18 when I finally wrote something. But no, yeah, Clay Aiken, that's my biggest inspiration. The second inspirations are like, you know, Tom and Matt.
Oh,
Yeah, that's right.
Who's inspiring you besides Ricky and Clay? Tom and Matt. We'll start with Tom because in the you know, on my screen it looks like you're sitting next. So no, Tom, the other Tom.
I thought we were going to the order we went before. It's okay.
No. Well, like I said, I just explained on my screen right now. You're in the middle of Matt and Ricky, so you're next.
Oh,
so who inspired you to write, Tom?
Well,
besides Ricky and Matt and Clay.
Besides Ricky and Matt. Honestly, I have stepped up a bit because of Matt. His writing is really good, and I've tried to incorporate faster guitar riffs as well as like more technical things that seem like it'd be hard for him to play, and that's fun for me. I like that. I like that push, but in the early days, it was always like, you know, the Misfits, a lot of punk stuff. My dad raised me to be a little metalhead, so I really fast playing from what I used to be able to do. As far as actually writing out lyrics, though, it's kind of hard to pinpoint. I mean, I really listened to a lot of Foo Fighters stuff. I don't think much of that shone through, but it's hard to say what kind of things have shown through over the last couple of years, or even the beginning.
Cure lyrics.
I have a lot of Cure influence. You know, like
that is a little transparent. Yeah, I guess I can see that.
Yeah,
and Morrissey.
I did like all of the emo bands back in the day. I had bangs. It was nice. I miss those. Would still be rocking them if I could.
It's hard to comb over bangs.
Hard to come over. I listened to a lot of Nirvana then too. Don't know how much of that shone through, but yeah, a lot of that kind of thing. It was, I always wanted to do like Metallica style things, and I just didn't have the voice or the creativity for those kind of lyrics. Just didn't. So all my lyrics are pretty simple. They're just a conduit for me to play guitar, basically.
What about you, Matt?
It was always Paul Simon for me, like Graceland and just oldies music all the time, like Hit the Road Jack and Dragging the Line, like Tommy James and the Shondells and stuff like that. And I remember specifically So Happy Together by the Turtles being like a huge musical thing for me when I was younger. I thought that was like a really great song. I would sing it all the time. But then as I went on, my dad showed me the White Album and Abbey Road. And then that became my favorite music, along with music on the radio in my early childhood years of, like late 90s, early 2000s. So I heard every pop hit from, the canon of the Swedish songwriter guy that did all the
Yeah.
Richard Marx,
The guy that's
whatever.
making all the money right now.
Yeah. So that guy, I mean, he like really put a bunch of puzzle pieces in my head about what a good song was and a pop song was and why it stuck in my head. And I thought about that a lot, even as a child, before I started writing music. And then in high school, I got into Nirvana, and I was like, oh, this is totally an expression of how I feel. And I got into Metallica and all the heavy metal bands and Megadeth and stuff like that. And I wanted to play like those guys. And then somebody up at a Christmas party, which Mady and I were both at, my best friend Becca gave me the first Foo Fighters album. She bought it for me. And I listened to it and I was like, these songs are so simple. Like, and I had just started playing guitar and I was like, I want to do more of that. Like I could write these silly esoteric songs like For All the Cows or whatever, and I sort of got into that. And the more and more I got into music, the more and more it inspired me to be where I am now and try to create more interesting things. I'd say that those are my early inspirations, but there's hundreds, of course, obviously, that I'm not saying, but
well, I think
everything from like in cartoon theme songs would influence me and the band, to write something. So
I think it gets me every time when you say, oh yeah, I like Paul Simon, and then you point to Graceland. Like that was the beginning of Paul Simon. I'm like, oh my God.
it wasn't
Get off my no, I know, but I'm just saying, like, that's what you point to every time. When I think of Paul Simon, like, and he was probably one of the first writers I ever heard. And since it was the folk stuff, you could hear what he was singing. And I always loved his writing, like the Beatles also. But I'm like, one of the first Paul Simon songs I think I liked was Simple Desultory Philippic or whatever, however, that complicated thing, which turns out it's 1965. And for some reason, it always stuck in my head. One of the lines he had was, I've been Ayn Randed, almost branded a communist because I'm left-handed. Well, that's the hand he used. And like that stuck with me because I was left-handed.
Right.
And then I was going through vinyl a few months ago and I pulled a Simon & Garfunkel album out of a sleeve, and it wasn't the one that belonged in the sleeve. And I put it on and I played it, and it was that song, which I've forgotten what the song, I never knew what the song was called. But it comes on and it sounds like something I would write right now, because it's all this heavy fuzz riff from 1965 Paul Simon. And I'm like, whoa, no wonder I dug this song.
Yeah, I mean, and he got signed in the whole Beatles Rush thing. Like he was, I mean, so that was, I mean, that's pretty amazing. And then once I delved back into Paul Simon, St. Judy's Comet was like my favorite song. And that's like basically a Beatles song. It's like a bastardized Beatles song. So
but
like
for me, Paul Simon for sure. And then I also I think I liked Cream and Zeppelin doing a variety of different things. I always thought I didn't want to be Zeppelin. I wanted to do what they were doing, because you could do a pretty acoustic-y Friends song and then go and do Kashmir or Achilles' Last Stand or something like that. And I'm like, why isn't everybody doing that? Why do you have to just like write one drop D thing and then write 700 other drop D songs after?
And that's the amazing thing about the Beatles that nobody really ever at that point had thought about. You could do anything. You could
exactly.
Every record be its own experience, and even on the record you could have separate experiences on the same album.
Yeah.
Once that happened, bands like Led Zeppelin and Cream and even Jimi Hendrix, for example, that's a perfect example. He his whole vibe on one record isn't, he's got so many branches off of things. And obviously Hendrix, I didn't add that, but that was a massive one for both of us.
I think I've thought about it a little more now, but lyrically, I think the Ramones, I think that's because that whole like first verse different from the first, and like do that kind of thing. Nice. And then they would eat the first verse on the last verse.
And we saw you playing with your Ramones cover. I saw you playing with your Ramones cover band. What I didn't realize is like these songs are actually kind of strange.
There's a lot of strange, and there's a lot of surprisingly to my ears anyway, far more political than I would have thought. Like that guy did not like Nazis, which is easy, right? Fair enough. But and then also like none of them had a good life. And like 53rd and 3rd, and like there's all the first
song called I Want to Sniff Some Glue Because You Have Good Times.
I like the song The KKK Took My Baby Away.
I know, like
that's a great song.
Like how is he? Yeah, it's weird. Like for as people say, they're simplistic, which it's like kind of, but so simplistic that it's hard.
The point across. Too.
Not only that, like there's a lot of key changes, which is obviously a classic.
Well, there's some weird key changes for sure,
but they're weird. Like when I was listening to you, and I'd listen to the Ramones a lot. Like I love the Ramones, but it's like,
was it did you crash or practice, or did you watch the video that we did?
No, I was there that whole rehearsal. Okay. Remember?
Because he just put out a video for Lobotomy or something like that.
Oh yeah, no, I was there the whole rehearsal, and we were trying to get the sound right as far as like monitors and stuff. But it was like, it was so ridiculous. Like I was like, oh, these key changes are so like unique and so great, and within the context of the songs with the melodies and stuff like that. But it's like total pop. Like some of that's like total pop. Like
but it's so like all of that stuff is written from a weird, dark place.
Yeah,
like that guy's mind was hurt and broken for his whole life. But
70s in New York.
I'd even go hard to say I think Bonzo Goes to Pittsburgh is one of the best songs ever. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. So
I'm still like I'm discovering these songs as I'm being asked to learn them. So there's a lot that like
I think that
Beat on the Brat with the baseball. Oh yeah.
I think that Bonzo Goes to Pittsburgh song is about the Kennedy assassination or something, which you don't really get the
Ramones,
you're like, oh, but you dive into the lyrics.
And then also, like something so deeply political and opinionated, and it's over in like 2 minutes and 25 seconds.
It's classic.
Well, it's that thing where it's what is the maximum impact you can have with the fewest amount of things.
Well, that's what we say, like intellectually trying to look back and cut it open and dissect it like frogs, but that's not what he's thinking. He's just like slamming out a song.
Yeah, he's a punk.
I guarantee you he's not sitting there with his pipe and a smoking jacket in his library going, how can I edit this out and minimize it to under 2 minutes? And that wasn't how he wrote. He just wrote.
No, he just wanted to play fast, but they want to do as much as they could in those 2 minutes. I think they said they recorded the first album in like 36 minutes.
Yeah,
and it was only like a 29-minute record, so they must have done a double take on at least one thing. That's incredible to do all of those mostly single take. Like, cool. Just bang it out and do it. And I think that's awesome. That stuck with me a lot, I think.
I feel like there's more in those guys than certainly I've ever given them credit for as far as musical and artistic inspiration. So how does everybody go about writing? Are you guys watching the Ricky show up there on TV?
Ricky.
It's like he's hosting a cartoon show on Saturday morning.
I am.
I need to
Hi,
change
everybody.
my Ricky until it pops up.
Yeah. I
So-
don't know how
Yeah,
to do.
there's the bear. Hi, everyone.
So how do you go about writing You and the Bear? Is it a riff first? Is it a lyric first? Is it an idea?
This is cool. So actually, I was talking about this last night. So my soon to be brother-in-law, he's like an actor and a musician and stuff out here, and he was like, how do you write songs? And I was like, well, I typically I find a chord progression, or I have a melody in my head, like da 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 da. I'm like, ooh, that's kind of fun. So I'll play that. I'm like, maybe is the key here? Is the key here? That was weird. So there's this like da da da, and then I'm like, I kind of freestyle the lyrics. Like I have a theme and idea. Like if it's like hold your hand. Hold your hand. When I wrote that, I literally was all like, I'm playing this chord progression. I'm like, okay, cool. I always look into the mirror and I check my skinny self. And then I'm like, I take a lot of pictures and I send them to myself. And I was like, oh, okay. And I just go and then I go through the whole song. And I always record it on voice memo on the phone. I push voice memo and I'm recording the song. And then I play it back like 3 or 4 times as I'm writing in notes. And I'm typing it in the notes as I'm listening to it. I'm like, this sentence makes more sense than this sentence. And then sometimes I like Hold Your Hand was written in about 15 minutes versus like Sing My Heart Out, which was written in like a whole day of like depression. And so it's like, it's a process of just like, I have something in my head and I freestyle it before it turns into like a sentence. Sometimes I'm singing and then next thing you know, I'm talking about the legs of a table. Then I'm like, well, I don't know why I'm singing about the legs of a table, but then that transitions into like eating somebody's brains or something. It's the weirdest thing, but it's like this weird freestyle thing going on. And then eventually after that, a lot of like the music and stuff and all the arranging and all that stuff, that's just random stuff that I want in my brain that I want to hear. Like I want to hear something like in Hold Your Hand has the bop bop bada bop bas and has the clapping. That's just because I'm like, I want to hear more. I want to do more. I want to know what the audience wants to do. And so I was like, if I was in the audience, I'd be doing like bop bop bada bop ba, and I'd be clapping and stuff. And yeah, and that's how I write my songs. And some of them are terrible. I mean, I've got like over 230 something songs that are just garbage, but there's a handful of them that stand out as okay recordable songs.
Well, and that's always a good ratio, I think.
Yeah.
Got to churn through the garbage to get to the gold, I guess. What about you, Tom?
It all starts on guitar. I will come up with some kind of, I usually almost have a song completely mapped out, and then I have a really difficult time writing unless I'm in a full band setting. Something about hearing the drums helps, and hearing what everything else is doing so I can make a vocal outline. And then from there, it's really all just what I'm feeling in that moment. And there's been a couple times where I've done an acoustic by myself. I've written a few songs like that, but mostly it's just whatever is in me then needs to get out. And if nothing comes out, then I have to wait until another time to do it. Because it's very hard for me to just write like that. I don't know. If I don't have the inspiration, it just doesn't happen. Which is why a lot of my songs are typically about the people I'm with, or Life on Mars. I was feeling terrible then. I was feeling really judged, and I was feeling looked down on, and I felt like everyone around me was alienated, and I was alienating myself and them. So the first lyrics are, "You only see my greasy hair," and because I had hair then, and it was grungy.
Was that the first line that came to you for that song?
Yeah, it was just the first one.
I love those. Like when you think of the right thing that just starts you on, oh, that could be a song, and then you just keep going, even without trying to force yourself to do it.
Well, because I think it is, "You only see my greasy hair. I noticed that with your dead eye stare," because people would just look at me, and they would look at me in this weird light, like I don't want to be around this person, complete strangers, because I'm just like a big dude, and if I have a blank look on my face, I look scary, and that's unfortunate because I'm dumb, so I always have a dumb look on my face. I'm always zoned out about something, so people just look at me like, what is wrong with you? And I'm just like, I'm sorry, I was thinking about penguins. How are you? And I don't know. Things from that are partners.
For me, like it's all sorts of things. Like I basically, it always starts with a guitar, with I come up with a guitar chords or something like that, and I just kind of start scatting to it, like singing something, anything to it, and then that's how we will do rehearsal for months. We'll do rehearsal with my blah blah scatty singing lyrics, and before we get into the studio, or even at shows, I would just blah lyrics because nobody could hear it because we're so fucking loud anyway.
You guys are really loud.
But anyway,
awesome.
So anything that meant something to me, I would just sing out or whatever it is. And then later on, before we go into the studio, I really work on the lyrics. Like I really try to get it to where it makes sense and I like it and it expresses what I feel and all those, good things. But I mean, there's times where I record to a voice memo, and so I don't forget ideas. And there's times where I come up with little couplets of lyrics. This might make a good line at some point, and write it down in my journal or something like that. And it might pop out later. I had a line in Cowboy Song that was slow as our progress, slow as molasses. Got to get to you, baby. How bold is your axis? And I thought that for the longest time, I was like, I'm never going to use. I want to use that because it's so goofy and dumb and Hendrixy, but I'll never use it. And then I found it worked in.
I've got a few
Cowboy
Hendrix
Song.
lyrics.
So,
a few.
But there's times where it really, the inspiration in the process is easy, and there's times where it absolutely isn't, and I have to ram my head against the wall to even come up with anything that I find suitable. But for example, like I wrote Gush in essentially 10 minutes, and I worked on the lyrics either then or a little bit later, but they came super quickly, and I woke up out of a dream and wrote Kimberly. So there's times where it just hits you, and if you're not there to capture the moment, sometimes it's just gone in the ether. I don't know why, but
yeah,
there are times where you really hammer it, like Horseradish. Mady had that bass line for we had it for months, and I kept playing this guitar figure to it, but we didn't have any lyrics, no song. And eventually it took months for us to even get a song out of it, but then eventually the lyrics came and the song came. But something like Jerkass off of Been There Seen It, the Hey What's Your Deal, which opens the song, is something I used to always say to our bass player. I just put it in the song because it was I say
have
to
reams of random lines that hit
Exactly.
me one time, and I like, ooh, that's cool, I got to write it down, and
Right.
then it gets in a pile or on that side of the desk or something like that, and I don't have like a clear process for reviewing them, which I should, but
Yeah.
But sometimes, like if it's that good, it sticks in my mind as well and cycles around. And then sometimes, oh, hey, and then I got to grab a guitar or something to start fleshing it out. Or sometimes I get a riff. I think I write all the different ways. Sometimes it's a line or a lyric. Sometimes it's a riff on a guitar. Sometimes it's a cool sound to be found on a piano, or that I think, hey, that'd be a cool piano noise. Or like, oh, what if something started with this drum thing? And then what happens? And so I'll just like my life is a pile of scraps of paper, figuratively and literally, that I just like eventually hold together and, oh, that works, cool. And then follow that through and make a song out of it.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, like you said, I had a dream once where I like woke up, I'm like, oh, I got to write that down. And I wrote what I could remember of the dream, as well as the fact that, hey, I'm writing this song because of a dream that I had. And I just listened to that song a little while ago, and I'm like, God, I still love that song. That's awesome.
When it happens.
I'm gonna find my coat.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like when you think about lyrics and why things connect to people and stuff like that, you know, but I like wrote Charlie's Kiss and the lyrics and all that after one, you know, evening with a certain somebody named Charlie. And you just don't think that's going to affect hundreds of people or something like that. You know, you don't think it's going to come out on a record and people are going to talk about it and people are going to talk about the lyrics, you know?
So what do you think is your best line that you've ever written then? And we'll start with Ricky again while Ricky's in black and white.
Yeah.
Best line I've ever written. I think people are people too. Like lyrically, Not a Lover is my favorite lyrics, but I think my favorite line is the 15 years ago today they locked me in 15 years ago today they locked me in this place. A jury of my peers took my life away. Like I don't know. I don't know why I wrote that. I just like I don't know why I said 15 years ago. So I must be like brutally old. And then I'm like, and I wrote that when I was much younger. So it was like it didn't. I don't know. Yeah, 15 years ago today they locked me in this place. A jury of my peers took my life away. And then I said, murdering my girlfriend is the worst thing I can do, but the zombies ate my girlfriend. This I'm telling you. And I didn't know why. It's funny because I was writing like a zombie song, but for some reason, and this one just kind of was a flowy freestyle way that I did it. I just started writing, but it turned into this story about this guy breaking out of a prison, you know, for the murder of his girlfriend, when he's like, you know, the jury was like, no, I don't believe you, you're going to jail. And so then he's got to fight for his right to survive because he finds out that his girlfriend is actually the leader of all the zombies. And so it's funny because it's like I had this idea that I was going to do I was going to do like a rock opera kind of thing with my old band Head Casket. The idea was that the songs all flow into each other, telling a story.
Well, I was going to say, this sounds like it could have been a comic book too.
Yeah, it would. Well, it would have been a lot of fun because Lady in Black is kind of like a sequel to that song, you know, because it's zombie girlfriend. And then it's like, you know, at the end of the song, it's like, talks about how I'm stabbing the girlfriend, but then she's like Dracula, so she comes back to life, so you can't really kill her. Well, then it goes into Lady in Black, which just talks about like this zombie girl who now she can like drive around in like this blue Cadillac driving around. And so when you see a blue streak drifting around the bend, the last thing you'll see is a shimmering of red because it's like blood because you're going to die. And then, so this was this whole story. I had this epic tale. I was like, I want to write a musical. But Head Casket never ended up doing that. And, but I still perform those songs because they're fun. But the idea was this whole like zombie girlfriend thing. And ultimately being my fault because I'm the one who gave her zombie AIDS or clap or zombie, whatever. I gave her the infection.
Zombie chlamydia.
Yeah, I should have been protected, but I didn't.
Why were you? And so, that's the question. If you had zombie AIDS.
Yeah, but see, it was
I was
asymptomatic.
Like a silver condom that protects you from that, or what? How do you?
Probably I was asymptomatic, and I had no idea. I was
that werewolf age?
And I'm patient zero. But the idea was like, you know, all the Head Casket songs were about zombies. Everything was about zombies, and then there was like this song, Follow, which was like the idea that, you know, yeah, this girlfriend's doing all this stuff, but you know what? I'm going to follow you. I love you. I'm going to turn myself into a zombie. Then the guy turns into a zombie. And then the following song is Dead Like Me, which is like, you know, you're dead like me, you know, and it's like this love ballad, like acoustic horror punk song. So the idea, all my songs about zombies, like, is like this just really a metaphorical story about, I guess, living forever and never dying. And so, but then when I got into became Deschamp and that character and that type of writing, I still am very influenced by the Head Casket and the stuff I wrote there. And that's why zombies will always be with me.
Stealing from yourself, so to speak.
Exactly. But yeah, that's so yeah, people are people two's lyrics with the 15 years ago today. Like that was just, it just flows so nice. Like, and the people's reaction when they hear it, they're like, murdering my girlfriend was the worst thing I could do. But the zombies ate my girlfriend. This, I'm telling you, like people are all like, oh, the murdering, zombies.
This is like a bad episode of Law and Order.
And then, and then everyone's like, fight, fight, fight. And you're like, and then it's like, this is catchy. But I like my songs to tell stories. I really do. I actually, a lot of my new songs will actually have more stories and stuff. Like that's why I like Sing My Heart Out. It's a depressing, sad song about, almost like a redemption. Like, and that was the thing. Like I want my songs where lyrics are so important. And this is why Matt will play a kid kit and play really quietly, because the audience needs to hear the lyrics. Because if you don't hear the lyrics to the song, it's like a comedian, you can't hear the punchline. It's like that, if a comedian, you just muted him. What are you doing, Tom?
He's imitating me.
I'm making fun of him because I was like, you play quietly on the drums for that?
I was going to say that sounded weird, but
no, well, it's that, like that kid kit. Man, kid kits are the best, man. It's like
it's small, but that doesn't mean he plays quietly.
I mean,
he just kicked a hole through a 1960s jazz kit. That's a little bigger than the kid kit.
Luckily, the head wasn't.
But I've noticed a lot of shows that I've played that if the drums are too loud and everything's too loud and the lyrics don't come through, it's like it makes me to myself, like in my core, it's like, what's the point of writing these lyrics if nobody can hear it? But I don't know how. But I'm a different kind of songwriter. It's like other songwriters, they'll write and they're like, I don't care what people, if they hear me or not. And I'm like, I don't know. I can't do that.
Well, I think I like that there's the onion aspect to it, where there's always something every time you hear the song. So if you've discovered the whole song the first time you heard it, I don't know that you come back necessarily as often as maybe you would if you continue to get something from the song every time you hear it. So if there's a case where maybe the drums are masking a line somewhere and then you listen, like I loved rock and roll forever, and the song was out like 15 years or 10 years or whatever before I ever heard it, and I loved it forever. And then one day, like 30 years after I got into Zeppelin, I'm listening in a car with a decent stereo and I'm like, oh my God, there's piano in this song.
That's pretty cool.
Like, so that I think there's something to be said, whether it's lyrically and then also like sometimes just there's the Wild World by Cat Stevens.
Yeah.
And like always a great song. Always loved that song. And then at one point after I had my kid and I don't know what, it came on the radio and I'm listening on it. Oh my, and I'll always remember you as a child was the line. And I'm like, oh my God, I've been listening to this song wrong for all these years. Like there's a whole new meaning once I just like heard a line in a different context once. It was like, so I feel like, if you do it artfully, you don't need to hear the lyrics like succinctly every time and still get the song. It can be done.
I mean, sometimes I wish I could hear Matt's lyrics live, but then when I hear the recording, I'm like, God, he's a good writer.
Yeah.
Like and then I years I didn't know Matt's, I didn't know Tom's music. Like I knew Tom's music, but I could never pinpoint the lyrics. And then in this recent recording and stuff, I'm just like, that is like really good. Like it was solid songwriting. And I just wish that it could translate in more live because
you'll never
guys
have a microphone loud enough.
I mean, a lot of that too is just sound guys.
It is.
If we have a good sound guy, we sound like an amazing band. If we have no sound guy, we are just loud.
If you play the checkerboard,
your songwriting is good. It's like you guys have good songs, and it's like, and I'm learning more and more because I'm listening. It's funny. I don't really listen to. Just to let you know, spoiler alert. I don't listen to music often, I just don't, I don't have the time. And even when I'm skateboarding, I'm not listening to music, and people are like, why don't you listen to music and skateboard? I can't pay attention to the thing. My ADHD is so bad that if I'm going to listen to music, I'm going to sit in the corner away from everybody and listen to music. And so I will have a non-productive life if I'm constantly listening to music. That's why it's like I like people to send me like one song or two songs and like, listen to this. I like, here, you need to listen to this whole album. Then I can dedicate like a half an hour of my life to that album. Otherwise I get really distracted and I'm like, oh yeah, that song was good. I don't know. I don't remember it, but I remember taking care of this and doing that. And then I went to work and I drove into a tree, and it's like, those are the things that like happen when I get lost listening to music. And so
it sounds like you might have just wrote another song right there.
I know.
What about you, Tom? What do you think's the best lyric or line that you ever wrote?
I've been trying to think about. I have a couple pretty intense ones, but I don't know if they consider like "Get Out of My Head." That whole song is based off of news headlines, because I was just furious about how it's this cookie cutter thing and then something dark, and then this cookie cutter thing and then something dark, and it's like it's obvious that these things placed here are a distraction. So the line is, did you hear what happened in the world news today? Peyton Manning scored another touchdown today. And then the next headline was, did you see what happened in the news today? Another 4 in a car got blown away because there was a car bombing. The second verse after that is, did you hear that Miley Cyrus took another photo today? Oh yeah, a kid killed 3 more others today because there was another school shooting the same day.
That's good writing.
Like the headline.
That's good
it was
writing.
Just like, it's frustrating to see the distractions in real time. But it's at the same time, I know it's very comforting to have the distractions because there's so much crazy things, and especially in today's world.
Well, I think when you write a song like that, I think that, I mean, it's helpful, but also it feeds into exactly what you're talking about. Like, it's a pleasant distraction from the stuff that it's actually telling you about. Like, exactly. Oh, here, it's the dark headline of another shooting or whatever in a poppy song kind of deal.
Exactly. And,
so,
the chorus of that is dark because it's not easy living this lie. It's not easy wanting to die the whole time. And it was just rough at that point in my life. There's other dark ones. I probably won't get into those. Everybody will think I've just been miserable forever, which,
well, I think an advantage to writing songs like that, as for the listener anyway, is that like the Onion thing again, like you give it, oh, hey, this is a great poppy song. And if they're not ready to absorb the darkness, they don't have to, because they're still like at the first, at the solo. Yeah, they're just at the top, the first layer, which is all just the fun poppiness and a catchy rhyme. And occasionally the lyrics that you can make out or seem like they're happy, but then, you know, further listening on a long drive somewhere, then you start getting the deeper stuff and so on and so on. What about you, Matt?
I was thinking about it, and there's a line that Devin and other people pointed out to me. There was a line in a song called Avocado from the last record, and the line is, she paints a picture of God, looks in the mirror and only paints herself, which I thought that was poignant for the song, and then people spit it out at me all the time. Another one is it's good lyric. A song called Charlie Brown that we did when I was a teenager, and the lyric is, when psychiatric help is just 5 cents, why be rich? Which references Charlie Brown, obviously. Lucy.
I got it.
But when I was younger, when I was younger, that was like a big lyric for us and me.
For a little kid.
Yeah, for a little kid. And so on the new album, I think one of the best, there's a song called God that has a lyric that is, plane, rocket, or train, I want to know you. I don't care what mystery bodes you. Flow just as you say into my old new. I don't care is one. And then the lyric I'm probably most proud of is on the same record, and it's a song from a lyric from a song called Medelia of East Star Avenue. And it's I write out a poem for you, a sonnet to capture your essence too, bows for your hair to entwine in, only to remind me where I'm standing. And that's like super influenced by The Cure. I just pictured Robert Smith singing it line for line. I had the line.
I pictured like Master Thespian saying it.
Yeah. I'm very much into musicals, as you know, and so I'm always constantly listening to lines like that I really, really loved, and I'm always trying to aspire to something that has not a wow factor to it, but something that surrounds itself in something that can exist outside of the song, for sure. Like, I really struggle with the lyrics to try to make them as either brutal or poignant as I possibly can, or as sweet as I possibly can, for myself, sentimental rather. So you can look back, like almost like a snapshot in time, like a photograph or something like that, and perfectly capture a moment. That's what I'm trying to do. I try to aspire to do.
I wind up liking, I think I have a lot of great lines. And then when I build a song up around that given line, it sort of like masks it. And then it's not necessarily the meaning, but just like the awesomeness of that line that I thought is like gone. Like, oh man, I ruined it. Like I have a song called Conviction. And the chorus is like, sometimes all you need is the momentary misperception that life brings. And I think that's like a great, awesome line. And it's like easy to understand. And I came up with that because I was like driving home. I was living in Portland. I was driving home and I turned the corner and there's a little dance studio that I pass by all the time. And out of the corner of my eye, I'm reading the marquee that I've read countless times before. But for some reason, when I was out of the corner of my eye reading it, it's like, dance lessons, jazz, contemporary, ballet, lap. And I'm like, I had to double take the sign and it said tap. Oh, but I just thought, oh, hey, look at the dance studio giving lap dancing lessons. That's awesome and fun. And for the brief second that was like the reality or what the sign said to me, it's like, that's pretty great. And then for some reason I got momentary misperception of life. And look at what's on the TV, Matt. Look at that.
I can't see it because
good. Well, you'll see it when I air it on In Studio.
Okay.
And then you'll go,
He needs to be talking. I'm assuming
it's that's right. That's me talking. There you go.
Okay.
Oh.
Wait, let me get a spit ready.
You want to get a picture of that? On a screenshot of.
So what song out there? What song out there and we'll just go back to Matt since you're fidgeting with your damn camera. What song out there do you wish that you had written?
Oh.
Wait, keep it up, Ricky. I'm taking a screenshot.
You know what? That's what she said.
You beat me to it because I was drinking my Coca-Cola.
All right.
But
did you get it?
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, okay, cool.
That was really good writing. Like calligraphy.
He has good handwriting.
Yeah, it's insane.
All right. Well, Matt lost your turn now. We'll start with Ricky.
I thought you meant Ricky. That you wanted Ricky to answer it. I'll answer
I said you were fidgeting with your camera, so I said I was throwing it to you, but you missed it. You dropped the ball. So we'll go back to Ricky. Ricky, what song out there do you wish that you'd written?
Because I got
like a song of the world.
I hope you laugh. I will laugh.
Recently, a song that I wish I wrote. Well,
there's no qualification.
Song I wish I wrote so there's two things. There's two songs. I wish I wrote "Save Me" by Unwritten Law. That is like a Deschamp. That's like I was like, that's a song that I totally would have written.
Great band too.
Yeah, and oh god, it's so good. The second song that I wish I wrote is actually the Harry Styles song "Falling." Is so good.
Oh,
it's a good song. Like
recent classic.
Oh god, I was like, oh, I wish I wrote that. That was. And then I tried to like, I can't even, that is such a well-written like breakup song. And like all the vocal things going on. It's like, it's funny. He like won a Grammy for like that Watermelon Sugar song stuff. And I'm like, Falling.
It sounds
good.
Catchy.
Yeah.
So catchy.
It is.
What about you, Tom?
Uh, I definitely do wish I would have wrote Gush. Guitar could have done it. I could have got there.
Look at Matt's face.
Really close to a guitar.
Now you
song.
hold. Now Ricky holds up the screen again, the
I know,
Colourflies
right?
screen. Well, Tom says that.
No, for real though. But let's see. There's a couple minus the bear songs I would have been like, I wish I could have wrote something anywhere near that good. Lyrically, I wish I could pull from them more, but I'm not smart enough. But yeah, I don't know. That honestly, that probably would have been the one that like I could have done that one, but I didn't.
Close.
I did write a song very close accidentally.
Yeah.
I've found with Matt that like, what did you say, 4, 5 of our songs before we even knew each other sound very similar.
Oh, I noticed that Matt steals a lot of my song titles.
I do. I'm so influenced by you that I steal your song titles always.
I think you're just influenced by the song titles.
I love titles. I'm a huge song title person.
He thinks about this a lot.
Yeah, if I have a title, I can write something.
I got to start using longer titles, I think, instead of just,
short ones.
2.
Yeah.
You clowns.
Yeah.
You clowns.
I think, I like some.
I'm going to now that we've said it.
What about you, Matt? What song do you wish you'd written?
Well, anything by Sugar Ray, probably.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
There's some Sugar Ray songs.
Every morning when he wakes up, he thinks that.
That's an amazing song, one. But also, there's like, there's 20 Beatles songs, obviously. But like, I wish I wrote Hummer by the Smashing Pumpkins. I love that song. Love the vibe ever since I first heard it. Or I wish I wrote Quiet by the Smashing Pumpkins. That'd be a good one too. Or what I really wish I wrote the song Steal My Sunshine by Len. I love it. Like that's such a good.
Wait, the Steal My Sunshine.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. You're awesome.
Oh, I would like to change there or add one.
And also, I wish I wrote Love and Touch and Squeezing by Journey. Absolutely. Every time I listen to that.
I wish I wrote the Phineas and Ferb theme song.
You were there, man. You were this close.
I absolutely know now. I wish I would have wrote Adam West by Get Married.
Oh yeah, dude, Get Married. Actually,
Coffee.
I wish
Oh, good.
I wish we were in the band Get Married.
I wish I was in the band.
Tom freaked out when we saw Get Married live at Gilman, and
they are up there.
I bought both EPs, and I bought their album when it came out.
And did you hear their Misfits album that they released?
What?
Misfit cover album? Yeah, dude,
Crazy.
look it up.
I'm listening to today.
Dude, Get Married is so good. Like,
Dude, and you know what's funny is I showed them to my coworkers, and my boss was like, "Huh, that sounds like you if you could do it." And I was like,
"Oh,
if you could do it,
yeah, if you could sing."
Oh, that's nice.
That is definitely a style I've gone for. He's like, it sounds like you, but he can actually sing.
He's a good singer.
I wish that I had written Broken Boy Soldier by Raconteurs.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That one is. I like that one. That one is good.
You only have one?
One that pops to me, honestly, like that's the most genuine answer, I think, if I can only think of one that pops into my head. I mean, there's thousands of other songs that I like and that are great.
Cars by Deschamps, which you wrote that.
I actually just turned the radio station off of that song this morning when I was driving around. So
yeah.
Is there a song that you're working on writing now that is just like that's, oh my God, I can't wait to get this song finished, I'm so into this song, versus like I get the pattern I get is like sometimes I'm really excited about a song, but then I've been working on it too long and it's just like I got to finish this damn thing. And then sometimes there's one where it's like oh wow, I'm gonna love this song when I'm finished with it, and it kind of comes together fast, maybe not, but something that you're excited about, which I don't get too often anymore. But is there You got something ready to explode out of you that you're working on right now, Ricky?
I got two. I've got well, so we have the songs that we're recording for the second album, and they're recorded. They're being mixed and mastered now. But there's the follow-up album, which we're actually thinking of doing like a 5 or 6 song EP and just be like that, and that's it. Basically, I just want to record, like, I really only want like 3 albums in my tenure. I just want 3 albums that say, this is it. This is Deschamps. That's it. And then if I write more songs, that's cool. But I'm probably never going to get, because I write a lot of songs that I don't record. But there's one song that there's a political song. Matt and Tom have heard it. I really like it. It's called Why Do We Do What We Do? I like it a lot. And then the Dance With Me song, I don't know. It makes me feel like 90s, like a 90s feel, pop punk feel to it. And I wrote those two songs I really like. And we didn't record it when I was, before I moved. So, cause I'm going to try to be back every hopefully by September, I want to be back every 3 months. It's cause I want to record more stuff. But Why Do We Do What We Do is cool, like politically driven song that I was pretty stoked about. And it was the one that Ian from Unconfined in Lewiston was like, he said something, I'm paraphrasing, like, I didn't know you could sing well. Or something like that, because he's like, every time he's seen me, he's always seen the Deschamps character. And like Matt and Tom have actually seen me like sing. Tom has seen me sing a hell of a lot of karaoke. So Tom has really seen me like sing. And my sister brought it up yesterday while talking to the family, while talking to that actor, the soon to be brother-in-law, how he's like, because they were talking about my voice, my music, my songwriting. And my sister was all like, he actually sings. He actually like can sing. He just like, this is all
he chooses not
like,
to.
Hi, I'm Deschamps. Nice to meet you. How are you doing today? Like, that's just an ad.
I would say there's a huge difference between what Ricky is capable of and the character of Deschamps.
Yep.
Deschamps is Alice Cooper, but the exact opposite. It's how wholesome could I possibly be in many ways. Whereas Alice Cooper was like, how terrible could I be? How many parents could I make hate me? Ricky's like, how many parents can I convince to give their teenage kids that's
money to buy a record?
Yeah, I think
but,
it's, and I love Ricky the singer far more than I love the character of Deschamps.
Like
I like
in
the character.
Montana.
I think the world needs characters.
Remember we did the Lincoln City show, Montana, and I just sang, and there's
and
people in the
good.
audience, and it was, yeah. And I was singing through your beautiful amp.
I think everybody needs superheroes, though.
That is true.
Yeah.
So what about you, Tom? You got something that's you think is like exploding? Like, oh my God, this is going to be great when it happens.
I'm working on a whole other album with a couple tracks that I'm very proud of. The first and foremost being a song called Bebop. I wrote it about the girl I'm seeing. Her name is Brooke. She is lovely. I really, really like her. And it's one of those, I wanted to write as much complicated guitar work as I could. Like there's times where it changes to 3/4 time and I'm finger picking in the middle. It's crazy because she is such a complex person that I wanted to write her a song that was complex. I mean, the lyrics aren't super complex. They're more from the heart, but all of the technical aspects of it are challenging and exciting. And I'm really, really looking forward to having that done. And then there's a song called Gazer Beam that we've been working on, where it's very shoegaze, it's very effect heavy, it's trippy. I'm so excited musically for it. It doesn't have lyrics yet. I've been working with Casey, our drummer, on that, and she's wrote out some cool stuff that I'm trying to fit into place. Casey's a better lyricist than me, flat out. It's unfortunate because a lot of the songs that she has wrote we haven't got a chance to use, I'm hoping eventually we'll get to re-record those, and that'll be its own special thing because her writing is really good. But those two songs in particular, I'm very excited for. Devin, who is now our bass player, has been drumming while she's been stationed elsewhere because she's in the National Guard, and so we've been working on the songs that way, and it's really exciting. We have some great instrumental stuff coming up, which I love. And there's a song called Rocksteady that's going to be cool. I'm very excited to be writing the stuff I am writing now. So, whole album work.
What about you, Matt? You got a song that's surprising you and bursting out, and
well,
can't wait for everybody to hear.
It's the tail end session of the album finally. So we have 2 more songs to do, which we're going to record probably in Portland or here or somewhere. One of them's called SEMA, and the other one's called Bowie Stardust. And Bowie Stardust is like a David Bowie tribute song, basically. And has like a wah guitar solo and stuff like that. But Matey's probably going to sing what is the verse or the pre-chorus of the song, which will be exciting. And also, I managed to sneak in like a musical motif from Cats, the musical, into the song, which is like awesome because I've always wanted to do that on a vinyl.
Get sued.
Yeah, we won't get sued for that.
Sued by cats with buttholes.
And the other song, SEMA, which is a shoegaze song, is like
What does that mean, SEMA?
It's just a name, just a title that I like.
It's just a
That's
crappy alcohol beverage from the 80s.
SEMA.
That's Zima.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, SEMA.
And
It's just that's creative.
But it almost has like a 80s Billy Idol feel to the chorus, like Eyes Without a Face or something like that. Feel to what is the chorus of the song, which I love that song. So that would make sense. I've been listening to a lot of post-punk and stuff like that. So it's definitely influenced the sound of the tail end of the record. So you'll have 3 different influences. You'll have 1970s kind of rock, Tommy James and the Shondells and stuff like that, kind of vibes in the song, and in some of the songs, spacey, dreamy stuff. And then at the end, it'll be almost post-punky, I think. And then it'll be all mixed together. Of course, the CD and the vinyl will be their own separate thing. But
I got a bunch of new album stuff that's kind of bubbling around, and a lot of it has Hammond on it because I got that damn Hammond
exactly
organ,
you got the Deep Purple,
which I do not regret. Like the stuff that I've got it on like 2 songs I think right now. That it's like, this is awesome. Down.
Nice, cool.
Well, good times, guys. Thanks for doing this. This is kind of fun.
Thank you. Bye.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Buy a Deschamp skateboard.
Hey there, you're watching In Studio. Remember to like, subscribe, and smash that notification button. But only once, because if you smash it twice, it'll go away. If you smash it 3 times, it'll come back. Remember...